Healing Flow, A Journey Back to Yourself. Chapter 1. Whispered Wounds. There is a language of pain that often goes unnoticed, a silent dialogue between your inner world and the rhythms of daily life that few people learn to hear. It is a language not spoken in loud outbursts or dramatic moments, but whispered in quiet sighs, in the heaviness that settles into your chest, in the restless nights filled with questions and unspoken fears. These are the whispered wounds, the subtle cracks in the surface of your being, the soft echoes of trauma, loss, or unmet needs that linger beneath the facade you present to the world. Healing begins not with grand declarations or sudden awakenings, but with the tender act of listening closely to these hidden cries that reveal where you are fragmented, vulnerable, or disconnected from yourself. The body is the vessel of this quiet communication. It holds memories, emotions, and experiences in ways that words often cannot capture. A tension that coils in your shoulders, a persistent ache in your lower back, or a dull fatigue that rest cannot seem to help. These sensations are not random or meaningless. They are the language of your body urging you to slow down, to notice, and to care. Emotions act as messengers too, sometimes appearing as fleeting irritations, sadness without clear cause, anxiety that flares without warning, or an empty numbness that dulls your senses. These emotional whispers call for attention, not avoidance, as they often contain clues to deeper wounds yearning to be acknowledged and tended. Trauma and pain do not always announce themselves with thunderous force or dramatic events. Many wounds are subtle, woven into the fabric of our daily lives, embedded in childhood memories or repetitive patterns that shape our responses and beliefs. Some traumas are inherited, passed down unconsciously through family stories or emotional legacies carried deep within ourselves. These inherited wounds are often the most elusive because they feel like a part of who we are rather than separate pains to be healed. They may manifest as unexplained fears, chronic self-doubt, or relational challenges that seem to repeat across generations. To begin healing, it is essential to recognize these whispered wounds and bring them into the light of awareness. Acknowledgement is the first and most vital step on this journey. To acknowledge a wound is to say, "I see you. I honor your pain." This simple act of recognition is radical and transformative. It breaks the cycle of denial and repression that keeps us stuck in suffering. Many of us grow accustomed to pushing pain aside, believing it to be weakness or something to be fixed quickly. Instead, true healing invites us to slow down and allow pain to speak, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. When we hold space for our whispered wounds with kindness and patience, we begin to unravel the tight knots of fear and resistance that have held them in place. We learn that healing is not about erasing scars, but about integrating them into our story, transforming them from burdens into sources of strength. This journey requires slowing down in a culture that prizes speed and productivity. It calls for creating intentional spaces of stillness and solitude where we can tune into our inner world without distraction or judgment. Such spaces might be found in quiet moments before dawn, during a slow walk in nature, or in the soft flicker of candlelight at the end of a long day. Mindfulness practices, meditation, journaling, or gentle movement like yoga or Tai Chi can open pathways to this inner listening. Creative expression, whether painting, writing, dancing, or playing music, also offers a bridge to unspoken feelings, allowing what is hidden to surface and be released. These practices are not about fixing, but about presence, being with yourself fully, exactly as you are. Listening to your whispered wounds also means cultivating a compassionate and non-judgmental inner witness. When painful feelings arise, instead of pushing them away or labeling them as bad, you allow yourself to hold them tenderly. This act of self-compassion creates a safe container where healing can unfold naturally. It reminds you that pain is part of being human and that your worth is not defined by your struggles or imperfections. Compassion opens the heart to healing energy and softens the resistance that often keeps wounds fresh and raw. It teaches you to be gentle with yourself, just as you would with a dear friend who is hurting. As you deepen this practice, you may begin to notice pattern-sold stories that replay in your mind, recurring fears or doubts, habitual behaviors that no longer serve you. These patterns are signposts, guiding you toward parts of yourself that need more attention and care. Maybe you recognize how certain triggers cause disproportionate emotional reactions because they touch on unresolved wounds. These discoveries are not failures, but invitations to greater understanding and healing. They reveal the interconnectedness of your inner landscape and the external world, showing that healing is both an internal and relational process. The journey back to yourself is not a straight path, but a spiral sometimes, circling back over familiar territory with new insight, sometimes stepping forward into unknown realms of growth. This ebb and flow can be confusing and frustrating, but it is also rich with lessons in patience, resilience, and surrender. There will be days when the whispers become louder, demanding your full attention, and days when silence returns, inviting rest and integration. Both are essential. Healing is not a race, but a sacred unfolding that honors your unique rhythm and timing. In embracing your whispered wounds, you also reclaim your power. Pain often disempowers us by convincing us that we are broken beyond repair or unworthy of love and joy. Yet healing flow reveals a different truth, that within your wounds lie seeds of transformation and strength. When you listen to your inner cries with courage and kindness, you begin to reclaim agency over your life. You learn to set boundaries that protect your well-being, to seek help when needed, and to nurture yourself with intention and love. This reclaiming of power is not about control, but about alignment with your authentic self and your deepest values. Healing also invites you to cultivate gratitude for the resilience you have shown. Surviving pain, trauma, and hardship requires a quiet bravery that often goes unrecognized. Each day you have endured is a testament to your inner strength and capacity for growth. By acknowledging this resilience, you build a foundation of hope and possibility. You shift from identifying as a victim of your wounds to embracing your role as a healer and creator of your life. The quiet voice of your whispered wounds may also reveal unexpected gifts, wisdom born from suffering, empathy that deepens your connection to others, creativity sparked by the desire to express what cannot be spoken. These gifts are not consolation prizes, but essential parts of your healing journey. They remind you that your pain does not define you. Instead, it enriches your capacity to live deeply and authentically. Through these gifts, your wounds become portals to a more vibrant, meaningful existence. Healing begins with a whisper. Will you listen? Chapter 2. The Sanctuary of Softness. Tender Strength. In a world that often celebrates toughness, achievement, and relentless forward motion, softness can seem like a fragile or even risky quality. We are taught to armor ourselves against pain, to hide vulnerability, and to push through discomfort at all costs. Yet true healing flows not through hardness or resistance, but through tenderness, a sanctuary of softness. where strength is born from gentle acceptance rather than forceful control. Embracing this tender strength is one of the most profound and transformative steps on the journey back to yourself. Softness is not weakness. It is a powerful, courageous way of being that allows you to meet life's challenges without losing your connection to your inner truth. When you create a sanctuary of softness within, you cultivate a deep sense of safety and acceptance that nurtures your whispered wounds instead of suppressing them. This sanctuary is a sacred space where you can lay down your defenses, breathe into your pain, and allow healing energy to flow freely. Building the sanctuary begins with compassion, the willingness to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a beloved friend in distress. Compassion softens the harsh judgments and critical voices that often echo inside your mind, voices that tell you to be stronger, to get over it, or to hide your struggles. These voices are echoes of conditioning, not truths. Compassion invites you to replace them with gentle words of encouragement, patience, and acceptance. When you practice softness, you open yourself to your emotions fully. Rather than pushing away sadness, anger, or fear, you allow these feelings to come and go like waves on the shore. You become an observer of your inner world, holding each emotion with curiosity and care. This does not mean wallowing in pain, but rather recognizing emotions as natural responses that contain valuable messages. Softness gives you the courage to feel deeply without being overwhelmed or controlled by your feelings. The physical body is a vital gateway to this sanctuary of softness. Our bodies hold tension, trauma, and pain long before our conscious minds are aware of them. Learning to connect with the body through breath, gentle movement, or mindful touch opens a pathway to healing that bypasses the intellect and accesses deeper layers of experience. Practices such as restorative yoga, qigong, or simple breathing exercises help to release stored tension and cultivate a sense of ease and groundedness. Touch, whether from self-massage or the nurturing embrace of another, activates the body's relaxation response and reinforces the message that it is safe to be soft. Softness also changes how you relate to yourself in moments of struggle. Instead of fighting or resisting discomfort, you learn to be present with it, allowing it to pass through like a storm rather than a permanent state. This presence is a form of strength that requires trust in your own resilience and in the natural flow of life. It is the strength of the willow tree that bends with the wind instead of breaking, of water that adapts to the shape of its container while continuing to move and nourish. Cultivating this tender strength also involves setting boundaries clear, respectful limits that protect your energy and well-being. Boundaries are a way of honoring your needs and saying yes to yourself, even when it means saying no to others. Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially if you are used to putting others first or avoiding conflict. Yet boundaries are essential for creating the sanctuary of softness where healing can occur. They create the safe container that allows your whispered wounds to surface without fear of judgment or harm. Another vital aspect of softness is forgiveness both of yourself and others. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as condoning harmful behavior or forgetting the past. In reality, it is an act of releasing the hold that pain and resentment have over your heart. Forgiveness softens the sharp edges of anger and bitterness, freeing you from cycles of blame and victimhood. It allows you to reclaim your peace and move forward with compassion for the complexity of human experience. Forgiving yourself is equally important, as it breaks the chains of self-criticism and shame that can block healing flow. Softness invites you to embrace your imperfections and vulnerabilities as part of your unique humanity. In doing so, you dismantle the illusion of perfectionism that keeps you trapped in relentless striving and self-judgment. You begin to see that your worth is inherent and unconditional, not based on external achievements or approval. This realization opens the door to self-love, the foundation of all healing and growth. When you love yourself tenderly, you nurture your whispered wounds and give them room to heal and transform. This chapter calls you to create a sanctuary within yourself where softness and strength coexist in harmony. It encourages you to practice compassionate self-care, to listen deeply to your body and emotions, and to set boundaries that protect your sacred space. It invites you to forgive and release old burdens, allowing your heart to open wider and your spirit to soar freer. As you cultivate this sanctuary of softness, you will discover that it is not a place of weakness, but a wellspring of resilience, wisdom, and peace. You will learn that the most profound power comes from being fully present with your self-embracing every part, every wound, every whisper with tenderness and courage. This sanctuary is always available to you, a refuge you can return to again and again on your journey back to yourself. Healing flows gently here. Will you step inside? Chapter 3. The River of Release, Letting Go to Heal. There is a river within each of us, flowing beneath the surface of consciousness, carrying memories, emotions, and experiences that shape who we are. This river can become clogged with debris, painful thoughts, limiting beliefs, past regrets, and unresolved wounds that hinder the natural flow of life. When the river is blocked, energy stagnates and healing is obstructed. The path to restoration lies in learning how to release what no longer serves, to let go with grace and courage, allowing the current to flow freely once more. This chapter explores the art of letting go as a powerful act of healing and liberation, a transformative process that restores balance and invites the fullness of life back into your being. Letting go is often misunderstood as a passive or even painful act of loss, something to be feared or resisted. In truth, it is a dynamic and deeply active process-conscious choice to surrender control over what weighs you down and to make space for growth, peace, and renewal. It is not about forgetting or denying your experiences, but about accepting them fully and releasing the grip they have on your present and future. Letting go means moving from holding on to pain and resistance to embracing trust and openness, from clinging to the past to stepping into the flow of life. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go is confronting the stories you tell yourself, stories about who you are, what has happened to you, and what your future holds. These narratives, often formed in childhood or during difficult times, can become mental prisons that limit your freedom. They may sound like, "I am not enough," "I am unlovable," or "I will never be happy." These stories shape your identity and your expectations, coloring your perception of reality. To release their hold, you must first recognize them as stories, not immutable truths, but interpretations that can be rewritten. Mindfulness and self-awareness are key tools in this process. When you cultivate the habit of observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you begin to see these stories as passing mental events rather than absolute realities. This awareness creates the distance needed to choose which stories to keep and which to release. You learn that your identity is not fixed but fluid, and that your worth is not dependent on external circumstances or past wounds. Letting go also involves releasing attachments not only to stories, but to people, places, habits, and outcomes. Attachments can create a false sense of security, convincing you that happiness or safety depends on holding tightly to something or someone. Yet true security comes from within, from the ability to adapt and find peace regardless of external changes. When you cling too tightly, you risk suffering more deeply when things inevitably shift. Letting go invites you to surrender this clinging and to trust in the unfolding of life's mysteries. The emotions tied to what we need to release can be intense. Grief, anger, fear, guilt, and shame are common companions on this journey. It is natural to want to avoid these feelings, but healing requires facing them with courage. Allow yourself to feel deeply and fully. Cry if you need to. Express your anger safely. Speak your fears aloud. These emotional expressions act like cleansing rains that wash away the accumulated debris blocking your river. Suppressing or denying them only prolongs suffering. Journaling can be a powerful way to facilitate this release. Writing your thoughts and feelings without censorship allows you to externalize what is inside and gain clarity about what needs to be let go. Letter writing is another useful technique. Writing a letter to yourself, to someone who has hurt you, or to a situation without the intention of sending it. This ritual can help you articulate and process complex emotions safely and privately. Physical movement is another vital outlet for release. The body holds emotions and memories in muscles and tissues. Activities such as dancing, running, martial arts, or even shaking your body gently can help dislodge stored tension and bring emotional release. Breathwork, particularly techniques that focus on deep, intentional breathing, supports this process by calming the nervous system and increasing oxygen flow, which energizes healing. Letting go is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Life constantly presents new challenges, changes, and losses that require us to release old ways of being. Developing a regular practice of release helps you stay resilient and adaptable. This might include daily meditation, mindful reflection, or intentional rituals such as burning symbolic objects or releasing stones into a river. These practices remind you that letting go is a sacred dance with life's impermanence. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of this release. Forgiveness is often seen as a gift to others, but it is equally, if not more, a gift to yourself. Holding on to resentment and anger keeps you trapped in the past, draining your energy and clouding your heart. Forgiving those who have hurt you does not mean excusing their actions, but freeing yourself from the chains of bitterness. Similarly, forgiving yourself for perceived mistakes or shortcomings opens the door to self-compassion and healing. This release lightens your inner burden and allows love and peace to flow in their place. Letting go also requires embracing uncertainty. The river of life does not always follow a predictable course. Sometimes, releasing control means stepping into the unknown with trust. This can feel frightening, but it is also where transformation happens. When you relinquish the need to control outcomes, you create space for new possibilities, creativity, and growth. You become more open to synchronicities, opportunities, and unexpected gifts. It is helpful to reframe loss as transformation rather than defeat. Every ending carries the seeds of a new beginning. When a chapter closes, whether a relationship, a job, a belief, or a phase of life, there is grief, but also potential. By embracing this duality, you allow yourself to mourn what is past while welcoming what is to come. This balanced approach supports emotional resilience and deepens your connection to life's ebb and flow. Community and support are vital on the path of letting go. Healing does not have to be a solitary journey. Sharing your experience with trusted friends, mentors, or therapists provides perspective, encouragement, and validation. Sometimes, simply being heard and seen in your vulnerability is a powerful release in itself. Seek out spaces where you feel safe to express your true self without fear of judgment. As you practice the art of letting go, you may notice shifts in your relationships. Some connections deepen and grow stronger. Others may fade or fall away as you outgrow old patterns and habits. This natural realignment reflects your evolving authenticity and growth. It can be painful, but also liberating, making room for new relationships that nourish and support your true self. The river of release teaches patience and gentleness. Sometimes the flow speeds up, and other times it slows or even seems to stall. Healing does not always follow a linear path. Resistance, setbacks, and moments of doubt are natural parts of the process. Treat yourself kindly during these times, honoring your unique pace and rhythm. Finally, let this chapter be a reminder that letting go is a sacred invitation to surrender what no longer serves you and to embrace the freedom that comes with release. It is a continuous journey back to your authentic self, where healing flow moves effortlessly through your body, mind, and spirit. The river within you is always flowing, always ready to carry you toward greater peace, clarity, and joy. Will you step into the current and let go? Chapter 5. The Healing Water's Emotional Release. Emotions are the currents that shape the inner landscape of our lives. They ebb and flow like tides, carrying with them messages from our deepest self. Yet, in many cultures and personal histories, emotions especially, the more intense or uncomfortable ones are, often met with resistance, judgment, or suppression. We are taught to hide tears, to bury anger, to ignore fear. But true healing arises not from repression, but from embracing these feelings, allowing them to flow freely like water, cleansing and renewing our spirit. This chapter invites you to dive into the healing waters of emotional release, to understand the power of emotions as guides, and to transform your relationship with feelings to reclaim your vitality and peace. Imagine your emotions as a river within you. When this river is allowed to flow naturally, it nourishes your being, carrying nutrients of insight, clarity, and connection. But when emotions are blocked, bottled up, or denied, the river becomes dammed, stagnant, and polluted, leading to discomfort, confusion, and even physical illness. Emotional release is the process of opening the gates, letting the river move, washing away the debris, and allowing the natural current to return. It is a fundamental act of self-care and self-respect. One of the first steps in embracing emotional release is recognizing that all emotions, no matter how challenging, have value. Anger is not a monster to be feared, but a signal of boundaries crossed or injustice felt. Sadness is not weakness, but a natural response to loss or disappointment, a gentle call for comfort and renewal. Fear is not a paralyzing enemy, but a messenger alerting you to potential risks or the need for courage. Joy, love, and gratitude, too, deserve to be welcomed and expressed fully, for they are the light that balances the shadow. By reframing emotions as meaningful and necessary, you shift from judgment to curiosity and compassion. Allowing emotions to surface requires cultivating a safe and supportive inner environment. This means slowing down enough to notice what you are feeling without distraction or denial. Many people live in a state of emotional numbness, disconnected from their sensations because of trauma, stress, or habit. Restoring the capacity to feel begins with gentle mindfulness, simply observing your bodily sensations and emotional currents as they arise, without trying to change them. This mindful witnessing creates space for emotions to be felt fully and honestly. Tears are a powerful form of emotional release. Crying has been shown by science to reduce stress hormones and release endorphins, bringing relief and comfort. Yet many people shy away from tears, fearing vulnerability or social stigma. Embracing tears as a natural and healing response honors your humanity and allows deep wounds to soften. Whether tears come quietly or in torrents, each drop is a step toward wholeness. Physical movement is another potent channel for emotional release. The body stores emotional energy in muscles and tissues, often manifesting as tension, pain, or stiffness. Activities such as dance, yoga, walking in nature, or even expressive shaking can help unbind stuck emotions, releasing them from the physical form. Breathwork, deep, intentional breathing also facilitates this process by increasing oxygen flow and activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the fight-or-flight response. Together, movement and breath create a dialogue between body and emotion, unlocking pathways to healing. Writing and creative expression are further avenues to embrace emotional release. Journaling your thoughts and feelings provides a safe outlet for processing inner experiences. You might write letters you never send, compose poetry, or create art that reflects your emotional state. These acts externalize emotions, giving them form and voice, which can bring clarity and relief. Creativity connects you to your inner wisdom and nurtures self-understanding. Sometimes, emotions are deeply entangled with past trauma or unresolved experiences. In such cases, emotional release may be challenging and require additional support. Therapists, counselors, or support groups offer compassionate guidance to navigate these waters safely. Healing is not a linear journey, but a spiral dance, progressing, resting, revisiting. Honoring your pace and boundaries is essential in this process. Cultural and societal factors influence how we experience and express emotions. In many communities, especially for men, displays of vulnerability may be discouraged, creating pressure to mask feelings behind stoicism. Women, too, may face expectations to appear cheerful or strong, suppressing authentic emotions. Breaking free from these limiting norms involves reclaiming your right to feel fully and express yourself authentically. This courage to be seen as you are is a powerful act of liberation. Forgiveness is a critical aspect of emotional healing. Holding on to anger or resentment weighs heavily on the heart and mind, draining energy and obscuring clarity. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harm or forgetting lessons learned. It means releasing the grip of pain so you can move forward unburdened. This release is often gradual, requiring compassion for yourself and others. As you forgive, you create space for peace and renewed vitality. Grief is a profound emotional current that touches every life. Loss, whether of a loved one, relationship, dream, or phase of life, invites deep sorrow and reflection. Allowing yourself to grieve openly honors the significance of what is past and opens the door to healing. Rituals, memorials, and sharing memories with trusted others can support this process. Grief, when embraced, becomes a transformative passage, deepening your capacity for love and presence. Joy and gratitude are equally important in the flow of emotions. Celebrating moments of happiness and expressing thanks amplify positive energy and resilience. Practicing gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, enhancing your overall well-being. Even in difficult times, small joys, a warm cup of tea, a smile from a stranger, the beauty of a sunset offer nourishment for the soul. Emotional release is not a one-time event, but an ongoing practice. Life's challenges will continue to evoke new feelings, inviting you to engage with them consciously. Developing emotional literacy, knowing how to recognize, name, and express emotions empowers you to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. Over time, you build emotional agility, the ability to navigate complex feelings with grace and confidence. Incorporating daily habits that support emotional flow enhances your healing journey. These might include morning check-ins with yourself to identify your emotional state, evening reflections to process the day, or setting intentions to express feelings honestly. Creating rituals of self-care, whether through baths, meditation, or time in nature, nurtures emotional resilience and replenishes your spirit. Connection with others also plays a vital role in emotional healing. Sharing your feelings with trusted friends or loved ones fosters intimacy and validation. Listening deeply to others' emotions cultivates empathy and strengthens relationships. Community and shared vulnerability create a powerful antidote to isolation and loneliness. In moments of overwhelming emotion, grounding techniques help anchor you in the present. These can include focusing on your breath, feeling your feet on the earth, or naming objects in your environment. Grounding interrupts the flood of feelings and invites calm reflection. Returning to your body through these practices reaffirms your presence and safety. The metaphor of water is deeply fitting for emotional release. Like water, emotions are fluid, adaptable, and cleansing. Water flows around obstacles, shaping landscapes gently but persistently. It can be calm and still, or wild and fierce. Embracing your emotions as water encourages flexibility and surrender, trusting the natural rhythm of healing. Ultimately, emotional release is a profound act of self-love. It means honoring your authentic experience, welcoming all parts of yourself, and trusting in your capacity to heal. As you allow emotions to move freely, you renew your connection with your inner truth and open the way for greater vitality and joy. This healing flow transforms pain into wisdom, burden into freedom, and isolation into belonging. This chapter encourages you to meet your emotions with courage and kindness, to see tears as medicine, anger as clarity, sadness as renewal, and joy as a celebration of life. To practice mindfulness and movement as gateways to release, to seek support when needed, and to nurture your emotional literacy daily, to forgive, grieve, and rejoice. To ground yourself in the present and to flow like water, resilient, adaptable, and beautifully alive. The healing waters are always within you, waiting to cleanse and renew. Will you dive in and let your emotions flow? Chapter 6. The Sacred Pause, Cultivating Stillness and Presence. In the rush and noise of modern life, stillness has become a rare and precious gift. We live in a world that values speed, productivity, and constant activity, leaving little room to simply be. Yet, true healing and self-discovery often emerge not in doing, but in pausing, in creating moments of quiet where the mind settles, the heart opens, and the soul speaks. This chapter explores the power of the sacred pause, the transformative art of cultivating stillness and presence amid the chaos, and how these practices can reconnect you to your deepest self. Stillness is not emptiness or inactivity, but a dynamic state of alert relaxation. It is a fertile ground where clarity, creativity, and insight arise. In stillness, the layers of distraction peel away, and the noise of external demands softens, revealing the subtle whispers of your inner world. This is where you hear your authentic voice, feel the pulse of your emotions, and find the spaciousness to respond rather than react. The sacred pause invites you to step out of the habitual flow of rushing, multitasking, and striving. It is an intentional interruption, a deliberate breath taken between actions. In these pauses, you cultivate mindfulness, the art of paying attention fully to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness opens a doorway to awareness, allowing you to observe your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations with curiosity and compassion. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of stillness as a path to awakening. In meditation, practitioners learn to sit quietly, observing the breath or a mantra, training the mind to settle like a calm lake. In prayer, silence becomes a space for communion with the divine or with one's deepest self. Even in daily life, small moments of pausing before answering a question, stopping to listen deeply, or taking a breath before reacting can cultivate presence and grounding. Stillness is also deeply healing on a physiological level. The nervous system benefits from periods of rest and relaxation, which activate the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest response. This counters the chronic stress many people experience, reducing cortisol levels and promoting balance. In this way, cultivating stillness supports emotional regulation, mental clarity, and physical health. To embrace the sacred pause, begin by noticing how often your attention is scattered or overwhelmed. Observe the busyness of your mind and the pace of your day. Then experiment with creating intentional moments of stillness. This might mean setting aside time for meditation or simply closing your eyes and breathing deeply for a few minutes. You might pause before each meal to savor the taste and texture, or before a conversation to center yourself. Over time, these pauses build a sanctuary of calm within your day. Breath is a powerful anchor in the practice of stillness. Because it is always with you, the breath can bring you immediately back to the present moment. When you feel anxious, distracted, or overwhelmed, focusing on the natural rhythm of your breath, feeling the air enter your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then releasing, grounds you in your body and your now. Breath awareness connects mind and body, heart and soul, weaving a thread of presence through your experience. The sacred pause also nurtures self-compassion. In the quiet, you can soften your inner critic and meet yourself with kindness. Instead of rushing to fix or judge, you learn to hold your experience gently. This shift from striving to accepting creates space for healing and growth. You recognize that being present with yourself exactly as you are is a profound act of love. Cultivating stillness deepens your connection to intuition, the inner knowing that guides your decisions and reveals your path. When the mind is calm and receptive, intuitive insights arise naturally. You may notice subtle sensations, images, or thoughts that feel true and resonant. Trusting these inner signals empowers you to live more authentically and courageously. In addition to meditation and breathwork, other practices support the sacred pause. Walking slowly in nature, for example, invites you to tune into the sights, sounds, and smells around you. This sensory immersion fosters mindfulness and refreshes the spirit. Journaling can be a form of stillness, a quiet conversation with yourself where you slow down enough to listen deeply and reflect honestly. Technology, while a wonderful tool, often challenges our ability to be still. Notifications, endless scrolling, and digital multitasking fragment attention and keep the mind in a state of constant reactivity. Setting boundaries with device turning off alerts, scheduling tech-free times, or creating a sacred space without screen shelves reclaim moments of calm. You may discover that the absence of digital noise opens a portal to deeper presence and creativity. Cultivating stillness also requires patience and practice. The mind naturally resists silence, preferring distraction or stimulation. When you begin to pause, thoughts may flood in or restlessness may arise. Instead of fighting these sensations, acknowledge them kindly and return your focus to your breath or chosen anchor. Each return strengthens your capacity to remain present. The benefits of the sacred pause ripple out into every area of life. Relationships improve when you bring full attention and presence to interactions. Decision-making becomes clearer and less impulsive. Creativity blossoms in the space between thoughts. Stress diminishes as you cultivate resilience and calm. Over time, stillness transforms from a rare treat into a natural way of being. In moments of crisis or overwhelm, the sacred pause is a lifeline. When emotions surge or challenges arise, taking a breath and stepping back from the intensity provides perspective and choice. You can respond with wisdom rather than react from fear or habit. This pause is a form of self-mastery, a reclaiming of your power to navigate life's storms with grace. The practice of stillness also invites you to explore the mystery of existence beyond words and concepts. In deep silence, you may encounter a sense of unity, peace, or transcendence, a connection to something greater than yourself. This experience nurtures meaning and purpose, reminding you that you are part of an unfolding cosmic dance. In cultivating stillness, you learn to live more fully in the present moment, the only moment truly available to you. The past, with its regrets and memories, and the future, with its hopes and fears, often steal your attention. Yet, life unfolds in the now, and the sacred pause helps you meet it with open eyes and an open heart. This chapter invites you to embrace the sacred pause as a daily practice and a way of life. Begin with small steps, a few minutes of breath awareness, a mindful pause before a task, a moment of gratitude for stillness itself. Notice how these moments shift your experience, bringing clarity, calm, and connection. Gradually, extend your practice, creating a sanctuary of presence within and around you. The sacred pause is a profound gift. You give yourself a space where healing flows, wisdom arises, and the deepest parts of you are heard. It is an invitation to slow down, listen, and be fully alive. In the quiet, you discover the wellspring of peace that has always been within you, waiting patiently to be acknowledged and embraced. Chapter 7. The Art of Gentle Strength, Vulnerability, and Resilience. Life's most profound lessons often come wrapped in moments of vulnerability. In a culture that prizes strength, power, and control, vulnerability can seem like a weakness, something to hide or avoid. Yet the deepest healing and authentic connection emerge when we allow ourselves to be seen fully, including our fears, uncertainties, and wounds. This chapter explores the transformative power of embracing vulnerability as an essential aspect of gentle strength, and how cultivating resilience allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and courage. Vulnerability is not about being fragile or helpless. Rather, it is the courageous act of opening your heart and mind to experience life honestly, without armor or pretense. When you dare to be vulnerable, You acknowledge your humanity, your imperfections, and your need for connection. This openness creates space for healing because it invites compassion from yourself and from others and breaks down the isolation that often accompanies pain and struggle. Resilience, on the other hand, is the capacity to bounce back from adversity, to adapt and grow despite hardship. It is often misunderstood as stoic endurance or relentless toughness. While resilience involves strength, it is more accurately described as flexibility, balance, and the willingness to learn from experience. Resilience and vulnerability are not opposites. They are partners in the dance of life, each enriching the other. Understanding the art of gentle strength begins with recognizing that vulnerability is a doorway, not a trap. When you open this door, you risk discomfort, rejection, or judgment, but you also gain the possibility of connection, empathy, and growth. Every time you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you build inner courage and authenticity. You stop hiding behind masks and start living in alignment with your true self. Many people fear vulnerability because it brings uncertainty and exposes wounds that feel raw and painful. This fear can lead to avoidance, putting up walls, numbing feelings, or pretending everything is fine. However, these defenses often deepen suffering by disconnecting you from your emotions and from others. True healing requires leaning into vulnerability with gentleness and self-compassion. Cultivating vulnerability begins with self-awareness. Notice the parts of yourself that feel vulnerable or afraid. These might include feelings of shame, rejection, inadequacy, or grief. Rather than pushing them away, invite these feelings into your awareness. Observe them as you would a curious friend, without judgment or the need to fix them immediately. This mindful attention begins the process of integration and healing. Another essential step is learning to express vulnerability in safe and supportive environments. This might mean sharing your feelings with a trusted friend, counselor, or spiritual guide. Speaking your truth aloud releases its power to isolate you and opens a channel for empathy and support. Vulnerability strengthens relationships because it invites mutual understanding and trust. When you share your authentic self, you encourage others to do the same. Resilience develops through a combination of mindset, habits, and support systems. A resilient mindset embraces challenges as opportunities for learning rather than threats to survival. This perspective shift reframes setbacks as part of the natural flow of life and encourages curiosity and perseverance. Resilience grows when you approach difficulties with patience and an open heart, trusting in your ability to adapt and heal. Habits that support resilience include self-care practices such as adequate rest, nourishing food, physical movement, and stress management. When your body is strong and balanced, your mind and spirit are better equipped to face challenges. Cultivating resilience also involves nurturing social connections. Relationships provide emotional resources and practical help during tough times, reminding you that you are not alone. Spiritual practices can deepen resilience by connecting you to a sense of meaning and purpose beyond immediate circumstances. Prayer, meditation, or contemplation help you access inner resources of peace and strength. Many people find solace in nature, art, or creative expression activities that remind you of beauty and renewal even in the midst of hardship. The interplay between vulnerability and resilience is beautifully illustrated in the stories of those who have faced significant adversity and emerged transformed. These stories reveal how moments of surrender and openness become catalysts for profound growth. For example, survivors of illness, loss, or trauma often describe a turning point when they stopped fighting their pain and allowed themselves to feel it fully. This surrender did not mean giving up. Rather, it was the first step toward reclaiming their lives with new wisdom and compassion. In your own journey, cultivating gentle strength means honoring your limits while stretching beyond them. It means recognizing when you need rest and support and when you are ready to take courageous action. It means accepting that healing is nonlinear, with ups and downs, progress and setbacks. Patience is a vital companion on this path. One practical tool to develop vulnerability and resilience is journaling. Writing about your experiences, fears, hopes, and insights provides a private space to explore your inner world. Journaling encourages honesty and self-reflection, helping you identify patterns and discover new perspectives. Over time, this practice reveals your evolving capacity for strength and softness. Another valuable practice is setting boundaries. Vulnerability does not mean exposing yourself indiscriminately. It means choosing wisely when and with whom to share your inner world. Boundaries protect your emotional safety and create the conditions for authentic connection. Learning to say no when needed and to communicate your needs clearly is an act of gentle strength. Self-compassion is the foundation of embracing vulnerability and resilience. When you stumble or feel overwhelmed, treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Replace harsh self-criticism with supportive and understanding words. Recognize that being human means facing challenges and making mistakes. This is not failure, but part of the shared human experience. In the larger view, embracing vulnerability and resilience transforms how you relate to life itself. You begin to see difficulty not as a punishment, but as a teacher, a sacred opportunity to deepen your understanding and expand your heart. This shift fosters a deep sense of meaning and purpose, grounding you in a life that is both authentic and courageous. The art of gentle strength also manifests in how you show up in relationships and community. Resilience sustains you through conflicts and challenges, enabling you to stay open and engaged rather than shutting down or withdrawing. Together, these qualities create a foundation for loving, honest, and enduring relationships. As you continue your healing journey, remember that gentle strength is a lifelong practice, not a fixed trait. Some days you may feel strong and open, other days fragile and protective. Both states are natural and necessary. The key is to meet yourself with curiosity and kindness, continually returning to the sacred pause where you find balance. In summary, the art of gentle strength invites you to embrace vulnerability as a source of power and resilience as a pathway to freedom. By opening your heart and cultivating inner flexibility, you reclaim your capacity to live fully and authentically. This chapter has offered tools and perspectives to support you in this vital process, encouraging you to move forward with courage, compassion, and grace. Healing flows most deeply when you honor the full spectrum of your experience, light and shadow, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. The journey back to yourself is a sacred dance of opening and grounding, surrender and rising. As you embody the art of gentle strength, you step more fully into your true power, becoming a beacon of hope and healing for yourself and others. Returning home. Healing is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey, a continuous unfolding of returning home, not to a physical place, but to the deepest truth of who you are. This truth is timeless and unwavering beneath the storms of life, beneath pain and joy, beneath the masks you may wear and the roles you play. Healing flow is the current that carries you gently back to this inner sanctuary of peace, love, and wholeness. As you close this book, remember that every step you have taken through these pages is a step toward reclaiming yourself. Each insight, each practice, each moment of reflection has invited you to open to the fullness of your humanity, to embrace your wounds and your strengths, your light and your shadow. This embracing is the heart of healing. Many who embark on the path of healing expect a clear beginning and a neat ending, a story with chapters neatly closed. But healing does not conform to neatness. It is often messy, nonlinear, and surprising. There will be days when you feel whole and free, and others when old pain resurfaces and the flow feels blocked. This is not failure, but the natural rhythm of life's unfolding. Like the tides that rise and fall, healing comes in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, but always moving you forward. At the core of healing flow is the invitation to listen deeply to yourself. Your body, your heart, and your soul speak in whispers and signs. They guide you toward what needs attention, rest, release, or celebration. Learning to trust these inner signals is a powerful act of reclaiming your sovereignty. It means turning away from external noise and distractions to honor the sacred wisdom within. The journey back to yourself often requires courage to face fears, to surrender control, to move through pain rather than avoid it. Yet it also calls for tenderness, for gentleness with yourself when the journey feels slow or difficult. Healing is not a battle to be won, but a dance to be lived, inviting both strength and softness. One of the most profound gifts you can give yourself is the practice of presence, being fully with your experience, without judgment or resistance. Presence is the fertile ground where healing seeds can take root. It transforms pain into insight, suffering into compassion, and struggle into growth. When you cultivate presence, you create a sanctuary inside that no external circumstance can destroy. Another essential aspect of healing flow is connection. We are wired for relationship not only with others, but also with nature, spirit, and the vast web of life. Isolation breeds stagnation and despair, while connection nourishes vitality and renewal. Seek out relationships that support your authenticity and growth. Engage with communities, creative outlets, and spiritual practices that awaken your sense of belonging and meaning. Healing also invites you to reimagine your relationship with time. In our fast-paced world, it is easy to become impatient with the slow work of healing. But transformation requires time to unfold naturally, like a flower blooming. Trust that the rhythm of your healing is unique and sacred. Honor your process with patience and gratitude. Throughout this journey, self-compassion is your most faithful companion. It is the balm that soothes your wounds and the light that guides you through the darkest nights. When you falter, when old patterns resurface, when you feel lost, meet yourself with kindness and understanding. Remember that healing is not perfection, but progress. Each moment of self-love propels you forward on your path. The themes you have explored in this book, mindfulness, self-awareness, gentle strength, vulnerability, resilience, and connection, are threads woven into the fabric of healing flow. These are not abstract concepts, but lived realities you cultivate through practice and intention. Integrating them into your daily life creates a foundation of wholeness and peace that supports you through all of life's seasons. Healing is also deeply creative. It calls you to reclaim your power as an artist of your own life, shaping your narrative and choosing new ways of being. This creative act may take many forms: writing, art, movement, music, or simply the conscious choices you make each day. Embrace the power you have to transform your story, and by doing so, inspire others on their paths. As you move forward, keep in mind that healing is a sacred journey, one that honors the mystery and sacredness of life itself. It is not about fixing what is broken, but about rediscovering the radiant essence that has always been present beneath the surface. This essence is your true self, whole, radiant, and free. In moments of doubt or difficulty, return to the breath. Let it remind you that you are alive, that life flows through you. The breath is your anchor, your connection to the present moment, and to the eternal flow of healing energy within and around you. Your healing journey is a gift not only to yourself but to the world. When you heal, you contribute to the healing of collective wounds. Your courage to face your shadows and embody your light creates ripples that touch the lives of others in ways you may never fully know. Each act of healing becomes a thread in the tapestry of collective awakening and renewal. As you continue to listen to your inner voice and follow the healing flow, remember that you are never alone. The universe supports your unfolding with infinite love and wisdom. Trust in this support and trust in yourself. Thank you for allowing this book to accompany you on this sacred path. May you continue to move gently yet powerfully through life's challenges, always returning home to the deepest truth of who you are. May your healing flow be a source of peace, joy, and profound transformation.